Hello there, friend. I'm so glad you're here. Today's story is for everyone, kids, teens, and grown-ups who just want to curl up and listen to something peaceful. So grab a cozy drink, find your comfiest blanket, and let me take you to a quiet little town where something curious is about to happen. At the very edge of Maplehollow, past the winding stone path and the field of forget-me-nots, stood a crooked little cottage wrapped in ivy. The roof sagged gently like a sleepy smile, and the garden outside was full of wild daisies and wandering bees. No one really visited this cottage, and few dared to knock. That's because it belonged to Mr. Alder. Mr. Alder was old. He wore a floppy hat that drooped in the rain and walked with a crooked cane carved with tiny animals. He rarely spoke and never came to town festivals or markets. Most people whispered that he didn't like anyone, especially children. "Don't bother him," parents would say. "He's strange." Even so, everyone had a different story about him. Some said he used to be a traveler. Others believed he was a clockmaker who built magical timepieces that ticked backward. A few thought he was simply lonely. But no one knew for sure, because no one ever asked. Then, one week in early spring, strange things began to happen. The bakery's bread rose in perfect spirals, even without yeast. The fountain in the square began singing lullabies at dusk. A flock of robins flew in perfect circles above the schoolhouse every morning, chirping in harmony. And of course, the rumors started. "It's magic," someone said. "Dark magic," said another. Soon, eyes turned to the quiet little cottage with ivy-covered walls. "Mr. Alder," the mayor whispered. "He's always been strange." Before long, the town was buzzing with fear and suspicion. Meanwhile, Mr. Alder stayed in his cottage, feeding the birds, tending his crooked rose bushes, and sipping tea by the window, completely unaware of what was being said. One afternoon, a little girl named Elsie stood at the edge of his garden. Her hair was full of clover petals, and she watched him curiously through the wooden fence. He looked up, saw her, and gave a small, polite nod. She waved. He blinked. Then, slowly, he raised one hand and waved back. Elsie returned to the cottage the next day. She brought a tiny basket with a slice of honey cake and a drawing she made of the singing fountain. She didn't knock, just left the basket on the garden bench and tiptoed away. From behind his curtain, Mr. Alder watched with puzzled eyes. The day after that, she came again, this time with a flower crown and a handful of birdseed. And slowly, gently, something changed. Mr. Alder began leaving little things out for her too: perfectly smooth skipping stone, a sprig of mint, a carved wooden sparrow. They never spoke, but every day they shared something kind. Meanwhile, the town grew more anxious. The strange happenings continued. A rainbow that lasted too long, the scent of lilacs in winter air, shadows that danced playfully in candlelight. "They're unnatural," the grocer cried. "It must be him." And so, a meeting was called. The mayor stood on the fountain's edge. "We must protect Maplehollow," he said, frowning. "Mr. Alder must explain himself." Elsie, standing quietly near the back, held her flower crown tighter. That evening, as lanterns lit the town with soft golden light, Mr. Alder heard a knock at his door. It was the mayor. Behind him stood half the town. "Mr. Alder," the mayor said, trying to sound calm, "we'd like to talk to you about recent events." Mr. Alder blinked. He hadn't left his cottage in weeks. "I assure you," he said softly, "I've done nothing at all." But the crowd didn't believe him. Only one voice spoke up in his defense, a small one. "She's right here," Elsie said, stepping forward. "He's kind. He leaves me gifts," the crowd murmured. And he smiles with his eyes," she added quickly, cheeks pink. Mr. Alder looked down at her, this little spark of sunshine in a scared town, and for the first time in a very long while, he smiled. The mayor cleared his throat. "If you're not the one causing all this, then who is?" Mr. Alder looked toward the sky. Robins flew in gentle spirals above. Then he looked down at Elsie. "I don't know," he said. "But I've always believed the world is full of surprises. Maybe we're just noticing them now." The crowd fell quiet. And then, something beautiful happened. The old clock tower, which hadn't worked in 30 years, let out a warm, chiming bell. Petals fluttered through the square, and slowly, everyone began to laugh, not nervously, but joyfully. Maybe it wasn't a curse. Maybe it was a blessing. In the weeks that followed, people came to visit Mr. Alder, not to question but to bring jam, ask advice about their gardens, or simply sit by the ivy-covered fence and listen to birds. They discovered he had once been a gardener, a sculptor, and a collector of old songs. No one mentioned the rumors again. And Elsie? She visited every day. Mr. Alder built her a tiny bench beside the daisies, and together they drank tea in the shade and watched clouds drift slowly by. And so, the little town of Maplehollow learned something important, that kindness often blooms in quiet places, and the biggest mistakes are the ones we make when we forget to be gentle. Thank you, dear friend, for joining me. If you enjoyed this soft, magical story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and return again soon for more cozy tales from peaceful corners of the world. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and never stop noticing the little wonders.